and we are good to start. Xerxes, over to you.
Thank you, Aditya. Hi, guys. It'd be amazing if you could turn your videos on so I can put a face to who I'm talking to. But I know it's a Saturday, so you can do this however you like. Please use the chat. I'm going to ask a few questions. Just put in anything. There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. Before I begin, my name is Xerxes. I am 29 years old. I work for Google. I work as a digital marketing strategist from Bangalore. My job role revolves around providing marketing insights to the sales team. The sales team goes and talks to the customer. I I sort of give them the data and make the slides, create a narrative, and then I tell them that hey, this is interesting about the client. You can use this to pitch XYZ more to the client, and they'll come back to me if they're happy with it. They say, can you tweak this? Can you do this? And on the basis of that, we make an incremental pitch. What's an incremental pitch? The client is already spending with us, and we want them to spend a little more. Now, now let's say you go for an interview, which is, let's get to the cake of this conversation. Let's say you go for an interview. मैं ऐसे interview में बैठा हूँ, and there's like probably 3 panelists in front of me. What is, let's say you walk into the interview, and let's say you sit on that chair, and they'll be like, oh, hi, please come. They're going to be very friendly with you. And what is the first thing that's going in your mind? Let's say nothing, no conversation has happened. You just said hello, and they're just looking at their own paperwork. What is going through your mind at that point? What are you feeling? Are you nervous? I'll give an example. You can be nervous. You could be shaking a little bit. You could be like, push a question. मैं उनको बताता हूँ how smart I am. It can be anything. So what exactly do you think that you individually, each one of you, or whoever wants to participate in this question, what is it that you feel you will be feeling at that moment? It doesn't need to be a correct answer. I just want to know if you know what you're going to be feeling. Is the question clear though? Does the question make sense? Awkward. Sorry, cheering myself that everything has got to be positive and just be me in there. Okay. Awkward. If I'm sitting and no questions are asked, waiting for them to speak. Mixed feelings. Interesting. Alert and a bit anxious. All right, that's something that I felt. Sitting confidently, observing things around and waiting for, I'm sorry for the background noise, there's some work happening. Sitting confidently, observing things around and waiting for the time to reply when asked. Awesome. So what you are doing is, when you're sitting on that chair and people are looking at you, there are some things that you are feeling. It could be within your chest. It could be at the back of your neck. You'll be feeling a little anxious. Somewhere you'll be feeling a little, you're trying to put something out. Like, let's say, for example, Harsh said he's sitting confidently. So in his mind, he's put it in his head that I'm going to sit confidently, and I'm going to look around and I'm going to observe things until the first question is asked, and then I'm going to jump into the question. Someone else replied they're going to be alert, which is also similar to sitting confidently, and a bit anxious. Of course, you'll be a little anxious. Mixed feelings, awkward, awesome. What I want, and the reason why I'm asking this question is, what I want you to realize is, when you go and sit on that chair in front of the panel, there's going to be a 5-hour wait before you do that. 3-hour wait. They'll be like, you'll probably be called in a certain row, and you'll be like, okay, your interview's after an hour. There'll be a certain time process that will go, and that time process before you sit on the chair will heavily influence how you feel when you sit in front of the panelists. When you sit in front of 3 people who are just looking at you and evaluating every move, it becomes difficult to be your natural self. It becomes difficult to sort of just embrace that moment and exude a certain kind of comfort while you're sitting on that chair. And that is what I am getting. Am I audible? I know there's a lot of background noise, but yeah. So it becomes difficult to exude a certain kind of confidence, a certain kind of relaxation. The way you're sitting right now, and you're probably at home and you just, you're comfortable, your legs are crossed, you're fresh, and you're just, whatever it is that you're doing right now, it's going to be difficult to be that way. But it is extremely imperative to understand that the more you realize that you are sitting at home when you are sitting on that chair, the better and more constructive your answers will be. Because if you have an agenda that, oh, I'm going to be the smartest guy and I'm going to show them how amazing I am at whatever, or you're thinking about what was the third point on my CV, if you're in any form of distress, the only thing that you can do is focus on your breathing, sit, take a moment to yourself. If your question is asked to you and the only thing that's coming to your mind is, I have to crack this interview, I have to crack this interview, you're not paying attention to the question that's being asked. And that is very crucial. You see, everyone will always tell you ki kya bolna hai, what to tell the interviewer, but no one is going to tell you how you should be when you're telling that answer. See, right now it's easy. Right now it's easy to just sit and talk. But in front of a panel with three people looking at you, it's not going to be easy. And believe me, I went through the same thing. All of us, we all went through the same thing. How well you assess that situation of three people evaluating you and how quickly you turn it into a conversation is your bonus point, will decide whether or not you get entry into your MBA college or no. In this case, MICA. It's very important. See, we all know that being very honest with you, this session is for MICA, but you also apply to some other colleges. No one's going to limit and restrict themselves to just one college. But I guarantee you that this is a universal rule that that you can apply. If you can sit calmly, comfortably, and a question is asked, and it's a googly question, it's like, oh, why did you do this in your CV? Why did you write and you're not prepared for it? You should exude the confidence to tell the interviewer, okay, I'll just need a moment to think about this answer, and let those guys stare at you while you sit in peace for 30 seconds, and you sort of in your mind you say, oh, I did this when I was a kid, and I did this, and then I met someone and then they told me to do this, and that is why I got this job, and that is why I participated in this activity. Create a little structure. How will you be able to create a little structure if you're not trying to make them feel a certain way, if you're not trying to be over smart, if you're not trying to be something you're not? You have to be the same person that you are sitting on your bed right now. That is very crucial. That's very important. Believe me, that's very important. How will you realize that you're not 100% yourself? Is you will feel that anxiety. You will feel that little stressful situation somewhere in your body, some particular physical place. Sometimes in your chest, you get a lump in your throat. You sweat from some. There must be some signal, some point. Identify what your signal is individually, and when that signal arises, pay attention to it. Take a moment. If you're not feeling comfortable, then you pay attention to what's not making you feel comfortable. If it's the back of your neck, then just, okay, I'm feeling this in my back of my neck. This is not important. This is not what's real. What's real is this question that's asked. And the more time you spend outside your head, focused on the questions being asked, the better your answers will be. I know I was on a little bit of a monologue, but does that make sense? Am I able to drive a point with this 5-minute monologue? Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to give you some actual interview prep. All this was just jazz. I'm going to give you something actually what you need to do. What you really need to do is, before you go for your interview, you need to prepare 3 to 4 stories about your life. Okay, you don't need to prepare 3 to 4 stories in the sense like, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this. No, you prepare the stories with the ifs and the buts and the, what did I do? Oh, right. Then in the 11th grade, I did this. You prepare it down to that level. And when I don't mean ab ratta maro story ko, but I mean that you know every permutation combination of that story. Okay. Now what are these stories about? One story of what you're good at. It doesn't necessarily need to be I'm good at dancing. No, they don't care whether you're good at dancing or not. What they're interested in is, you have a problem solving ability. If you have work experience, Was there an issue? And did your skill help you solve it? If you don't have work experience, there was a college project which you were participating, some committee, some team, something. What is one thing that you did good at it? If you never participated in a college project, something that you did done amongst your society, something that you helped organize an event, something that you've done which involves managerial skills, which involves you managing people. Something good. It could be efficient communication. I think I can communicate well. I think I have a good sense of perspective. I think, and then what is the perspective? You just saw someone on the road and you helped them. But perspective hai tere paas. Are you understanding? So one thing that you're good at, one thing that you fucked up, you've done bad. You actually screwed something up. I'll come to you, Richa, in a bit. One thing that you've done which is not so good, which you messed up in your previous job. You screwed something up. You've not participated well, or you've done something. And if there's an XY axis, then the story is like you've done something, happened, and then it's gone downhill. And then what the silver lining was. And the silver lining involves a learning curve. What did you learn from the situation? How quickly you adapted to the situation? How you solved the problem? These are two stories that you need to know. The third story, you can add whatever story you want on either side. Now, I'm your interviewer, okay? And I'm like, hey, Richa, or hey, Yashi, or hey, anyone else. I'm sorry, your camera's off. So, yeah, but like, hey, tell me one thing that you did good in life. You bring up the good wala story. Tell me one thing that you've done. Tell me one of your weakness. You bring up the bad story. You bring up the bad wala story. The not so great. Maybe add 1-2 more weaknesses also. You can't just have one weakness. You have to be open to weaknesses. You have to be open to a positive things also. So let's say, let me one thing that you go back to that second story. Tell me one thing that you wish you could have done better. You go back to that second story. Tell me one thing. Tell me of a time when. Tell me. You said that you are good at communicating. Tell me one instance where you actually communicated well and something happened. Go to any one of those stories. Wherever you've spoken to someone, it's a communication piece. You understand what's happening. You create 2-3 stories like this. You learn those stories. You learn them to the core. And then each story will have a different aspect. Each story will connect in different ways. One story, in every story, you will talk to someone. In every story, there will be some issue that's happened. That's what you're solving for. In every story, there'll be some people management. Someone was not feeling well, or somewhere where there was some where you, without being told, you understood someone's perspective. I understood that what the problem was, but she was being unable to say it. So what I did is I went and had a conversation. Remember, you're going to get some cross questioning on. But the point out here is, have 3 stories of things that you've done, all ending in a silver lining. The silver lining at the end is important. If event हुआ और मैं गया और फिर सब बर्बाद हो गया, तो बता क्यों रहे हो स्टोरी? इवेंट हुआ, सब बर्बाद हो गया, लेकिन मैंने देखा. मेरा यूएसपी क्या है? I feel I am very aware when situations arise, when a problem situation, I'm able to assess a problem situation well. Situation हो रहा है, मैंने देखा कि oh, situation is bad. My HR is was bullying someone, and I felt that if I can't complain to the HR and I'm supposed to trust the HR, who am I supposed to reach out to? Think of a plan. Think of what superhero mode you had, where you were in every superhero movie. That's what happens. That's what attracts you to superhero movies. Marvel में क्या होता है? Spider-Man पहले मार खाता है, एंड में जीतता है. Iron Man क्या खाता है? पहले मार खाता है, फिर जीतता है. आपने क्या करना है? आपको मार खाना है. मार मतलब like situation हुआ है, and then how you win in the end. It's very crucial that the silver lining exists, and that the silver lining exhibits a learning curve. What is the learning curve? What did you learn from this situation? What did the situation teach you? Be humble about it. When you talk about a learning curve, look your interviewer in the eye. Don't look around anywhere else. Look them in the eye and say, this is what I fucking learned from this situation. and because and say it with a confidence, because no one can take that away from you. No one can take away from you a situation where you've acted and you've learned, and that will exude confidence. That will exude that, okay, this person is determined, this person may or may not be right, we may or may not agree with what you say, but this person is interesting for us. You don't have to say the things that they'll agree with. If you had to say the things that they will agree with, you talk politics, then you talk cricket. Then you say that no, your favorite is Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is the best. No, they don't want to agree with you. Even they know that they will disagree with you in their head. When I went for my interview, I wrote something so random in my SOP. I wrote, I'm interested in Eastern philosophy. Eastern philosophy is basically Zen Buddhism, which tells you how to live in the present moment. That's all that Eastern philosophy tells you. I was grilled for 20 minutes by Dr. Apurva Sanaria, who left after the first year when I was in MICA, and he was ridiculing Eastern philosophy. He just ridiculed it. He told me that what is being in the now? You don't think about the future, what will happen in the now. He was ridiculing it. And then at the end, after 20 minutes, he wanted to see if I crack. He just wanted to see if I crack. I could have said, no, maybe I should be more open-minded and listen to what he says. But no, I chose at that moment, my open-mindedness was, no, I think I might be right in this situation. I trust where Zen Buddhism has got me. I trust the impact that it's had in my life. After 20 minutes, Apurva Sanaria looks at me. He's like, if you're really interested in Zen Buddhism, you should read Eckhart Tolle. Who is Eckhart Tolle? He's a very famous Zen Buddhism teacher. So Apurva knows more about Zen Buddhism than me. He knows about what Eastern philosophy is. He's testing me if मैंने ऐसे CV में डाला है कि नहीं. ऐसे ही मैंने YouTube पे देखिए मैं क्या इंटरेस्टिंग लगा. हाँ, ईस्टर्न फिलोसफी लगता है. वो लोग क्या पूछेंगे? नहीं, वो लोग सब जान. The second thing that I want to tell you, the first thing is the story. 1 minute, I need to charge my laptop. Just give me a minute. The second thing that is very important out here. Why is this not charging? Sorry. Yeah. The second thing. Oh, I lost my chain of thought. The second thing that's very important is when I was your age, we have a certain kind of confidence on a little I know attitude. Okay, we know you know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. We think we know, and we do know. That's not a lie. But they know more. They're doctors. They're doing this for a living. They're getting paid. Some of them are just teaching in MICA because they're like, I love to teach. I find supply chain and logistics interesting. So I'm just going to talk to kids about supply chain. Some of them have worked for companies for 20, 30 years. And then they're like, okay, chalo, abhi kitna paisa bana liya? Let me teach. I feel philanthropic. Okay. They're doctors. They're really well trained. And when they let go of things that you do and they say it's because they understand that we are children. And the quicker we understand this, the quicker we understand that apna attitude apne paas rakho is very important. Because a lot of kids come with this confidence that I know this, I know that. But the reason why they are not beating you in every argument is because they want you to win and they want to see how you react when you win. It's not a big loss for them to lose an argument to another student who's going to leave in 2 years. But they're coming here year after year. So understand that when you're in your interview, understand that when people are evaluating you, don't be too hard to judge. And by judge, I mean if someone is just looking at you like this, don't be too hard to judge. He's a man, he's doing his job. His job is to sit here, look at hundreds of kids and evaluate them on their performance. Be a little humble about it. Accept the reality of a situation that, yeah, your interviewer could be tired. Your interviewer is also doing this the whole day. When I went in for my interview, I reached the college at 11 a.m. My interview was at 5 p.m. Okay, I was fucking famished. I was hungry. I was thirsty. I was exhausted with the stress of 5 hours that, oh fuck, I have an interview. When is this going to begin? And the first thing when I went in is and it was in a hotel management institute. So from the side, this kid who was also like doing his hours in hotel management, he comes in with a glass of orange juice. And I looked at the glass of orange juice and I'm like, wow, that's an awesome glass of orange juice. And you know what they did? They're so nice. They said, would you also like some? No, you take it. And I gulped that drink down. Like I gulped it. I needed that drink. I would have collapsed otherwise, but I needed that drink. I had the drink. They're like, are you hungry? We're ordering some food. Are you hungry? and they ordered spring rolls for me. Now interview chal raha hai, and suddenly guy with fucking spring rolls comes out. Okay, they were the greasiest, the worst spring rolls I've ever had in my life. I've never tasted worse spring rolls than that. And the plate came, and all three of them, I realized this much later, but all three of them just sat. They didn't eat. They just looked at me and that plate of spring rolls, and they wanted to see what do I do with this plate of spring rolls. That's what they wanted to see. And there was chutney, and there were oily, fucking greasy spring rolls. And my first thing was, I need to eat this shit. I was so tired. I was just like, fuck it, I'll eat. And then I thought to myself, nahi, wait, they're looking at me right now. There has to be some evaluation out there. Now tell me one thing, कितना भी आप classes लो, आप ये prepare कर पाओगे क्या आपके CV पे? कि spring roll का plate आएगा, आप क्या कर लोगे? नहीं ना. At that point, I thought to myself, they're looking at me. I should offer them spring rolls. So first I did, I offered them spring rolls. And you know what they did? They said, no, 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 we're good, we're good, we're good. They wanted those spring rolls for sure. I said, I'm sorry, I need to take a bite. So the questions are coming, and I'm like, yeah, so this is what I did. And then I'm just talking, I'm just eating, and I take a bite of the spring rolls, and they were so bad. They were so bad. I could not, like, I like oily food and I have high cholesterol, but they were so bad. So I dipped it in, I took a bite, and they looked at my face, and I knew, I trusted that they are a little more smarter than me, they're a little more experienced than me, they can see it if I'm faking it or not. So I told them that no, these are horrible spring rolls, I can't have any more, I'm sorry. And that was good. The quicker you adapt to your true self, your true nature, your true what you really are, minus the shell of ego that we have, and we're like, no, I want to be this, minus trying to put out yourself as someone as smart. Don't even try to be smart. Just be your natural self. Be curious, be open-minded, be genuine. Think in a genuine fashion. Think that if I was not allowing my worst fears to dictate the situation, what would I be thinking of? Does that make sense, guys? Was that helpful? When you go for your GEPI round, when you go for your GE round, sorry, you're going to be in a, has the round happened? That's not happened, right? So no, GE, right. So when you go for your GE round, you're going to be in a room. Okay. In the room, there's going to be a table. On the table, there's going to be random shit on the table. There's going to be felt pens. There's going to be markers. There's going to be books. There's going to be balloons, and they're going to come up with you with a problem statement. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is my GEPI, and then if you have any questions, then it's 1 p.m. and we want to have lunch on Saturday. But when I went for my GEPI round, we were given the question: you are to set up a library. You are to set up a library. A new library is open. How will you market this library? How will you set it up? And how will you get more footfalls into the library? Now, on the table was just a bunch of random things. So what we came up with the idea is, and two of the panelists will be sitting on opposite ends of the room. They'll make you wear something like a little number 6, number 5. So then they don't need to remember your names, and they will evaluate your performance. They'll just observe your behavior. Now, understand this: you cannot fake behavior. You can be aware that, okay, maybe I'm a little pushy sometimes, maybe I'm a little submissive sometimes, but you cannot fake your behavior. So you have to embrace it the way you are, and you have to be aware, oh, am I being too pushy right now? Oh, am I being too? And you have to quickly forget that those people are sitting in the room looking at you. And then what you do is you start working on the problem. They don't want to see whether you have all the solutions. What they want to see is, how are you cooperating in a team? Because in MICA, or in any MBA college for that matter, but especially MICA, everything you do will be in a team. Everything you do, like 5 of you all will just be paired and like work together. Like, this is a problem, work together. And you can't be a snob. You can't be the hero. You can't be the villain. You have to be a team player. What does a team player do? A team player listens, a team player participates, and a team player gives suggestions. And a team player is also very democratic. So I like you, so your ideas, I'll pair up with you on your ideas, and we'll only work on these 2 slides. and then you guys can, obviously that's going to happen in the second year, that's going to happen like 6 months to 1 year into your college. But what they want to see is, can you participate, can you play with the other children? That's how parents look at it. Can you play with, can if I send my kid down to play cricket or whatever, can he mingle well with the kids? That's literally what they're looking forward to. So we came up with this idea that, hey, we need to create an app for, we'll create an app for a library, and what we'll do is we'll create a scorecard system. So you read a book, you review the book, and you can upvote and downvote like Quora. I'm sure you guys know what Quora is. It's a dying website, but you know what it is. Upvote and downvote, and the person with the most number of upvotes minus the least number of downvotes, every Friday they can come and they can talk about their book review, and they can answer questions. Or if you're an author, you can come and you can answer questions, and you can book a Friday slot. So what we're doing, we're guaranteeing people come in on a Friday, people who want to maintain a book club or whatever it is that they're passionate about. And and then we drew out the idea. So someone was working on something, I felt like I was a little bit of a butterfly in that sense, because I just kept looking at what everyone was doing. I wasn't really doing a task, but I was like, hey, can I help you with this? And for a moment, I'm like, I'm not working on any task. So that's bad. I need to do a task. Like, they'll ask me, what am I? I didn't do any task, but they still found me impressive. Why? Because I was going around helping people. I may not be like, yeah, but I'm like, hey, what if we merge this with this? What if you hold this and stand it? And then 5 minutes were left, and they won't tell you anything. They won't even tell you to present. 5 minutes are left. You need to be aware that you have to present. And then your 5 minutes are left, and then we were just like looking at each other's face, like, okay, what do we do now? Now, Tushar Chawla, he is a guy who I work with. He's a colleague of mine, and I also live with him in Bangalore. We're flatmates. But the first time we met was before the GEPI um, in the MICA interview, and he is bloody brilliant. He's a really smart guy, and what he did is that he sort of just took like picked up a little notebook, and he stood there and he's like, okay, welcome to the grand opening of our library. He did. And the moment I saw that, I was envious. I was like, fuck, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be the guy presenting the thing. Like, I'm missing that opportunity. Like, I'm not being noticed. I haven't done a particular activity yet, and he's already. So I was envious of him. I could feel how jealous I was. But coming back to the first point that I made out here, and I'm using myself as an example because I'm not gloating. I'm just using myself as an example out here. But I felt aware of that enviousness in me. I felt aware of that jealousy. And I thought, no, I can't act upon it. I need to do something. So let me be aware of the fact that I'm jealous, but how can I help in this situation? So everyone was just looking at him, and I knew that this guy is getting picked, and mera cut raha hai. Okay. So I went to the table and I found a purple square sheet, like just a purple square sheet. And I said, you know what? Let me enable this guy. He's already in it. Let me show. I didn't think of it actively, but it just happened. And I said, let me show how I can help the situation. So I went. I picked up that purple sheet of paper, and I went and I said, wait, don't start. I stopped his flow. I didn't intend to really break his flow there, but I'm like, wait, don't start. And I put that piece of paper on the floor, and I'm like, this is your podium. You stand on this. And he stood on that podium. And out of that batch of 6-7 people, Tushar and I were the 2 people who got picked for college. Did I do anything out of the box? No. Did I invent the wheel? No. Did Tushar invent the wheel? No. What did Tushar do? He saw an opportunity. He had the presence of mind, and he took it. I saw him take an opportunity, which triggered a response in my head that, okay, there's an opportunity. I can take it. I took it. And what happened? The both of us ended up joining MICA. Both of us ended up getting placed in the same, and we live together. So you never know in what way or what trajectory you will go. But the point out here is, and without gloating too much on my own ass, the point out here is, if you can spend a moment on this particular day when you go to this college, being as calm as possible. But if you watch a TV show that calms you down, If you're when you're traveling in your taxi or rickshaw or your train or whatever, if there's a certain type of music that you listen to, keep the same damn rhythm. Listen to the same songs, watch the same TV show, relax, eat the same breakfast, don't do anything extra. Go there as if it's just another day, and you will find it so much more easier to be calm, composed, and in the moment. Does that make sense? Is that useful? Awesome. I think we're at time. I don't want to eat into your lunch. Yes, I share my GD experience. Do you have any questions? We can do a few questions. Is it possible that the panelists didn't like the SOP satisfied? Of course, of course. SOP has no meaning. SOP has meaning when they put a face to it. So, and I know that in Maya there was a likes and a dislikes column. Be very honest when you're saying your likes and dislikes. Sometimes just because you don't have a dislike, don't make something up. If you don't like matar paneer, you don't like matar paneer. But make sure that the other 2 points are strong points. It's what you're doing about you is you're showing to them that you are you're confident enough to add an element of humor. Doesn't necessarily mean that's a strong suit, but you're confident about something. You feel something strongly. Go for it. Don't make sure that in your likes you don't put a I'm using the word politics again and again because it's a very sensitive topic. Don't say anything that don't mention religion, don't mention politics, don't mention anything uh, that is opinionated, that's too strong. Be neutral about it. You like playing badminton, you play badminton. They'll grill you on questions about badminton, like how much time is each round on a professional setting, who's India's best badminton player. If you like badminton, and if you truly like it, then you put it. Don't faff in that likes, dislikes column. Because the likes, dislikes column is a test of truth. It's a straight up test for truth. It's nothing else. Your job may, you can say, I worked on 10 projects. They're not going to come and verify. They're not going to call up your previous employer. But the likes and dislikes column expresses truth. If you are able to show them, they don't like your SOP. Let's say I'm a panelist, I don't like the color red. And you've mentioned, I like the color red. I'm not going to judge you. I'm more mature. That's why I'm a panelist. So I'm mature enough to understand that my opinions don't have to be the same as your opinions. But I want to know why you like red. Because I'm a panelist, because I am an open-minded panelist, I want to know what is it about red that can help change my opinion. Have a conversation. Have a simple conversation. Be truthful about that conversation, and it will do you wonders.
Thank you so much, Xerxes.
Thank you,
You really,
Zagzi.
really gave a new perspective to all of them. So I'm sure it helps. Thanks a lot once again,
Thank
especially
you.
that too on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
Thank you. I know I spoke too much. Like once I catch the train of talking, I don't stop. But like I hope this was useful. Yeah. Thank you.